What is up, everyone, and welcome to a very special Monday morning episode of Talkin Nets. Getting some good energy to start your week. We're talking about 3 games. Gate left you on a little bit of a hiatus there. We'll get into why and all that, but I'm excited. I'm here. I'm Hudson Flynn. I'm leading the podcast today. Keith decided to go rock with the Yankees leaving runners at scoring position all weekend. I'm cool with that. I'm rocking with him because he's rocking with me. Keith, how you feeling?
Yeah, the Yankees are good at leaving runners in scoring position. That's how I knew we were back. That's how I knew baseball was back. I was in the stadium watching guys get left on base all weekend. That's a familiar feeling. But yeah, Hudson is rocking a mic. Hudson will lead us through the podcast. We are now in baseball season and football season. No, not football season. What am I saying? Baseball season, basketball season. Soon it'll be football season. There's a lot going on. If you follow me on Twitter, you know I was at all 3 games, and I also have a brand called Pinstripe Strong with Joe's McFly, Chris McFly. We do Yankee stuff. So that stuff's going crazy, but we still have to talk Nets because I have a brand for your Brooklyn Nets with myself and Hudson Flynn, but I want Hudson to start to emerge as the main guy. You know, doing both is cool. I've been doing the Yankee stuff for 7 years. This is my my second year doing the Brooklyn Nets, and it's a big year for us. But Hudson's not doing much Yankee coverage for John Boy Media, if any. I know he's a Yankee fan, so I'm excited to see him help us take this next step as we're trying to optimize things. We're trying to get it so when we do the podcast live, you can watch it on YouTube, and then we just upload the audio, and we're just working on things. But, man, let's talk about your Brooklyn Nets a little bit, Hudson. Right back to
Yeah,
you.
just like you said, though, just like the Nets are doing, we're getting ready for the playoffs. We're ready to bring you all that content, that live content. We could do a little bit of virtual watch along with you guys in the chat, you guys having us answer questions, getting some live reactions, watching me stare at my computer frantically typing to make sure I get all my tweets out on time. And we're working for the playoffs just like your Nets. And that seems to be the theme of these last 3 games that we're going to talk about, going all the way back to last Wednesday with the Nets beating the Rockets 120 to 108. And we'll get into that shortly. But that's really kind of the vibe of what we're doing. The Nets, they bring in LaMarcus Aldridge. They got Blake Griffin in the fold now, really emerging as a primary role player on this team. They're giving Clack some minutes, some fluctuations in his minutes. We got DJ leaving the rotation for 2 straight games, sitting on the bench collecting DNPs. A lot of exciting stuff to talk about. A lot of good energy to bring into this podcast, to bring into this Monday morning, to bring into this week. And when you guys are listening, you're going to be listening. We're about to play the New York Icks, the New York Knicks, the team from MSG from Midtown. And they were making some pretty wild comments talking about they got a big 5, got a big 15. But we'll get into all that in just a minute. But like always, we're taking this chronologically. So let's jump all the way back to Wednesday, to the Nets going out there and getting a win. Questionable at times, not exactly our best performance. 120 to 108 win against the Houston Rockets, the worst team in the NBA, arguably, them and the T-Wolves. And look, the Nets got it done. Wasn't pretty. Sometimes it was real ugly, if I'm being honest. But we got some good performances. Joe Harris put up 28. Kyrie put up 31 and 12. James Harden, bit of a quiet game, 17, 8 rebounds and 6 assists. Funny that that's a quiet game from him, but we love it. We're enjoying it. Blake Griffin, he went out. He played all right. I love to see it. I like to see the Nets getting these gritty wins. Keith, tell me about what you were feeling going all the way back to last week.
I remember looking at the Rockets team and forgetting some of the guys that they had on their team, like DJ Augustine, Kelly Olynyk, Kenyon Martin's kid, and Avery Bradley, Kevin Porter Jr. Like, they have a complete different team. And I know I was thinking, I'm like, this is Houston's revenge game against the Nets and James Harden, the way they came out of the gate. But what I love most about that game is that the Nets did figure out how to come back and win. They did figure out how to get a win against a team that's lower competition. We know earlier in the season what plagued us, playing down to our competition. We played down to our competition for the first half, but we figured out how to win. And, you know, they didn't have a guy score over 20 points. Kevin Porter Jr. scored 20 points. It was like they had a bunch of guys in double digits. They had 2 guys off the bench score double digits, but, you know, the defense was looking shaky. It didn't matter. We found a way to win. I think Kyrie's performance stood out from this game. Harden's performance, is what it was. But didn't Harden get hurt in this game? Didn't Harden get
that was the Harden injury game. We saw him miss the majority of the second half. He was actually chasing. If he had 12 rebounds, he would have averaged a triple double on the month. He took home player of the month anyways, but that would have been nice to see. But I think really the main headline from this game, Keith, is we're playing against Kenyon Martin Jr. when Kenyon Martin Sr. was on this Nets team, was the last time your Brooklyn Nets had sole control of first place in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah,
we did it.
Yeah, gotta love it.
We got it. We got it done. We
gotta love it. That is the biggest thing from this game. We did get in the first place, and we did get to celebrate. It had been since 2003, and a lot of people were talking about the Brooklyn Nets have never been in first place. The New Jersey Nets, the franchise, has been, but as far as the Nets playing at Flatbush and Atlantic, those guys, that was their first time being in sole possession of first place. And it's a sign of things to come. And it's great to see that this team did it, because that's what we were expecting from them. And pretty soon, I think they'll be able to get it and hold it outright and be the number one seed. Other than that, from that game, your boy DeAndre Jordan, I think he had 11 minutes, 48 seconds, 2 points. And I think that, that was pretty much it. Claxton had 20.
A final nail in a coffin.
Yeah, I think that was. That was just about it. And I say that to kind of segue us into the next game, but not right away. But like what I'll say is, from that game, I was thinking, man, where's Aldridge, and like how long are they going to really play this game where it's like DeAndre keeps starting over Claxton, and then you have Aldridge now. How long was it going to be? I'm about to play a voicemail from one of our friends from Brooklyn that called Wednesday night after the Nets beat the Rockets in game 48-72.
What's up, guys? It's Jeffrey from Brooklyn. Just wanted to talk about some things that I saw from the Rockets versus Nets game. TLC is about to lose his job to Alize Johnson, who I believe is going to be signed for the rest of the season after this 10-day contract is done. Nicholas Claxton continues to impress. DeAndre Jordan is proving everybody that he's not a good player anymore, and when Aldridge comes, I expect his minutes to dip. He had like a negative 11 plus minus at half. Blake Griffin and Nicholas Claxton overall, I think, had a plus 26 and a plus 29 plus minus, which just shows how bad DeAndre Jordan is. People keep saying that Blake Griffin is washed and all that. He's still going to be a very important piece in our championship run. He's been extremely efficient as of late, and so is Nicholas Claxton, and that's what we need from them. Joe Harris had a really good game. Kyrie showing that when Harden's out. That's pretty much it. Hope to hear from you guys soon, and peace.
Yeah.
Boy, I call myself the voice of Nets Twitter running the Talkin Nets account. That kid just ran through the gauntlet of Nets Twitter takes right there. He hit all of them in one voicemail. That was efficient. That was effective, and really just showed exactly what DeAndre Jordan and TLC are not. And it looks like for at least one of those players, the former, it became too much. It became too much, and I'll let that segue us right into the next game, like Keith was getting at before, into the Hornets game on Thursday. The Nets come out, they get a 111-89 victory. But honestly, that scoreline didn't really reflect the type of dominance that the Nets brought in this game. To me, this was probably the most fun I've had watching a Nets game all year. And it was without Harden, and obviously without KD as well. But we come out, and for the first time playing in a Brooklyn Nets uniform, LaMarcus Aldridge, LMA, gets the start at center. And right from the jump, you saw someone that was really exceeding my expectations. And I'll let you go on your little soliloquy about how you feel about all this in a second, but he put up a good performance, 11 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. That was one of the huge things I took away, was the assists. We saw him work in the post, work in the mid-range, just like we expected, step out from 3. All good things. He was actually on pace for a triple-double at halftime. But overall, good game by the Nets. Jeff Green led the way with 21 points. And that was really the story of the game, was that even distribution of scoring. Kyrie only put up 15, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, almost picked up a triple-double himself. Landry Shamet, the sharpshooter, challenging Joe Harris, at least in current form, right, for being the top three-point shooter on this team with how he's playing. Bruce Brown puts up double digits. Tyler Johnson puts up double digits. just an all-around good dominant win against a team that was at the time the number 4 team in the Eastern Conference, and the Nets just came out and dismantled them.
I meant to put some respect on Joe Harris's name for the Rockets game because he had 28 points, and I usually say that like he doesn't get buckets when Kyrie's on the floor. Something I noticed, like when Kyrie isn't playing or Kyrie is on leave, Joe Harris gets buckets and he immediately comes. I think I said it on the last podcast, and then he comes out and drops 28 while Kyrie has 31, and the Nets get it done against the Rockets. Had to get that in. Now to the Charlotte game. How good of a player is LaMelo Ball? The Hornets, I thought the Hornets were good. I thought the Hornets were the best team in the East.
They're supposed to be good.
I hear all about their announcers and how their announcers are great and how the Hornets have changed. And, LaMelo Ball goes out. I'm not sure what to expect because going into this game, we know Harden's not going to play. It's a back-to-back where we struggled. And I did know that a back-to-back at home. I think I said it in our post-game recap. I'm like, these guys started off slow tonight. They will not start off slow tomorrow. It's a back-to-back at home. They will come out from the start and play hard and play with effort and play with energy, and they did. What I'll say is I laughed. LMA, LaMarcus Aldridge, LMAO. I was laughing my ass off watching the Nets because I came back from opening day Thursday in time to watch mostly like some of the second quarter, but all of the second half. And I'm just laughing at this game. I'm like, this is the Nets. In past years, I've come back from baseball games and been able to catch the Nets, and it's usually like a game that I'm half watching. I was riveted. I come back from an opening day loss of the Yankees, and I get to see LaMarcus Aldridge started. And I'm just happy because I'm like, Steve Nash obviously realizes LaMarcus Aldridge is a grown-ass man.
He's a big dude.
He doesn't have to spend too much. Like, there's not too much you need to see from this guy. He's a big dude. He's got a hell of a game, and we got to see that skill set on display a little bit against the Hornets, who we blew out. We beat the brakes off these guys. I laugh because Landry Shamet was hurt, and he comes back, and he's hitting threes. He's got 17. I laugh because Uncle Jeff, any way you want it, Uncle Jeff will give it to you. He's shooting threes. He's dunking on guys. He doesn't care. The Nets will roll out a starting lineup of Joe Harris, Jeff Green, LaMarcus Aldridge, Bruce Brown, and Kyrie Irving for the first time against the Hornets, who, as it currently stands, the Hornets are the 5 seed. I think they were the 5 seed when we beat their ass the other night. And it's just laughable. I'm like, it's our world, Nets world. This is what we're doing. We're rolling out a starting 5 that doesn't have KD and Kyrie, and we're smoking the number 5 seed. It's just a good time. And we're blessed as Nets fans to live in this time because LaMarcus Aldridge is going to have more of an impact. And we'll talk about him a little bit because, like, I just love the fact that he did start and he didn't wait 4 or 5 games like Nash needed him to. And you're getting to see a complete different center than what we've seen. You're getting to see a guy with a complete different game, a mid-range jumper, a mid-range shot, a guy that can back guys down.
He can make his own shot. He can make his own play.
He can create his own shot. There was a couple times he's matched up with Cody Zeller, and that's barbecue chicken. He knew what to do. He knew exactly where he was going to go in that game. You love to see it. So Tyler Johnson as well. It sucks because didn't Tyler Johnson get hurt today in the Bulls game? I didn't see it, but I heard it on the radio.
Down. But he went down, non-contact right knee injury, not able to put any pressure on it, walking off the court, walking to the locker room. He put a little bit of pressure on it, was walking ginger, looked scary. You got to hope that it's just a sprain or hopefully, best case scenario, he just jammed his knee. But that's tough. And we'll get into that when we talk about the Bulls game. But you're talking about LaMarcus Aldridge. I'm talking about the 3 players that played 4 minutes tonight. Chris Chiozza, Alize Johnson, and Reggie Perry, all putting up 4 minutes, which is coincidentally or not coincidentally, depending on how you think about it, 4 more minutes than DeAndre Jordan played, who picked up a DNP, who didn't even get to go out with the stay ready group when the Nets were up almost 40. Alize Johnson showed out again, putting up 5 rebounds and 2 points in 4 minutes because that's what Alize Johnson does. But we got a DNP from DJ, and I know it's just one game, a small sample size. Also didn't play in the Bulls game. We'll get to that. But did you miss anything from him? Like, no, I know we talk a lot of trash about him, but people were saying, maybe there's an intangible factor, like he's that good teammate. Did you feel like you were missing anything?
No, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. You WWE fans from the 90s should know where that comes from. With DeAndre Jordan, I think his name gave him a long runway. I think his name and what we know of him gave him too long of a runway. Enough is enough. No, he's not going to be missed. Yes, once in a while he catches a lob and he dunks and he hangs on the rim and it looks cool. But overall, I think I was online with you and I clipped something, and it was just him not closing out on a shooter. And even the Yes Network turned on the guy. I'm like, they're showing replays of DeAndre Jordan being out of position. They're showing replays of DeAndre Jordan not closing out on a shooter, and they're just making him look bad. It's like if they didn't show us a replay and have a yellow marker draw an arrow on him, we wouldn't be looking at him. But
Sarah Gustav gave him all the smoke consistently.
yeah. And I
Consistently.
think that's everybody's done with it because we don't have time to keep going on with the DeAndre Jordan experiment. Okay. Like, what else do y'all need to see? And I know we dog him a lot. I know Hudson dogs the shit out of him on our Twitter. And I let it ride because it's merited. It's not like it's coming out of nowhere. And I'm sure DeAndre is a great guy. I'm sure
he seems
all
like a
of
great
that.
teammate.
He's a great
Honestly.
teammate. He might be a great coach someday because we've seen him mic'd up. But this team is trying to win a championship, right? And when you're looking at this team and you're saying this team, we keep saying this team's playing for a championship. It's championship or bust. Well, you're not playing for a championship giving DeAndre Jordan 25, 30 minutes a night. You're not. When it comes down to it, when we play the better competition, which is coming fast, we're in the first week of April now. This team has to start gelling. Usually in the past years, when do the NBA playoffs start? In April. We'd be looking at the first round of the playoffs coming up in past years. It is time. We can't keep playing around with DeAndre Jordan. Nick Claxton has shown us that he's ready to go, and we already know what we need to see from LaMarcus Aldridge. It's a guarantee. He just is what he is. So enough with DeAndre Jordan. No, I didn't miss him at all.
No, and it's exciting to not miss him because that puts all of that discussion to bed. And it's really wonderful to see that it was put to bed.
I don't mean to cut you off. Someone said to me on Twitter, like, why do fans care about his contract? It's not that fans care about his contract, right? But he is making a good amount of money, and he was brought over here in a package deal with Katie and Kyrie. It wasn't like the Nets were targeting him. He was on the Knicks before he came to us. Well, it's not that the fans care about the money he's making, but fans care about the money you're making when you're not producing. When you're making a lot of money and you're fucking the game up, the fans are going to care. When you're making a lot of money and it seems like you can't get the defensive scheme down, like Harden is talking to you every game, like you're a JV player who just came up to varsity, people are going to have an issue. And I'm a Yankee guy. I was just at the Yankee game all weekend. They booed Giancarlo Stanton in the first two games, and he didn't play in the third game. Why? Because he was striking out and going over, and the guy makes $325 million. Enough is enough. Like, these are grown men. They're professional athletes. Nobody's babying them. If you don't produce, you don't produce. And we as fans don't have to feel sorry for anyone. Let's move on. This is a great team. We don't need to waste any time on DeAndre Jordan trying to figure it out.
It's a cold world, and it stayed that way because I was wondering if it was just going to be like you get put in timeout, you get a DNP, you playing bad, you get 1 game DNP, but no. And we go into this Bulls game, and it's another game where we see LaMarcus Aldridge start and DeAndre Jordan pick up a DNP. But of course, this was a very different game. The Nets lose 115-107, a Sunday afternoon game off of 2 days downtime. It seems like the Nets actually play worse in these games when they have so much downtime. Obviously, you want to be able to enjoy your time off, but the Nets love that momentum. They love keeping it and letting it ride. Just not a very exciting game. The Nets couldn't really keep up. Kyrie did some amazing things, couldn't really find a shot in the middle quarters, put up a Nets career high, at least 15 assists. That was fine. Landry Shamet looked okay. He pulled up limp a little bit, so they kind of managed his numbers going down to the end of the game. Jeff Green puts up another 21 points because he's Jeff Green. I don't really know how he does it. I don't know how he was so ignored by the rest of the league, but we have unlocked like pure diamond amethyst.
In Sean Marks, we trust.
In Sean Marks, we trust. He kept him in the incubator. He got him. But the Nets could not really keep up with the Bulls, who are a very motivated team. They had lost their last 6 in a row, I believe. This was their first win, actually, in the Vucevic era. And damn, Pete, I'll throw it to you after this. I think Vucevic has some type of personal vendetta for reasons I could not possibly explain
Yeah, he
against the
gets
Brooklyn
off.
Nets. He turns himself up to like playoff Kyrie levels
Yeah.
every time he plays the Nets. It's ridiculous. It's like this is his one shining moment every time he sees the black and white walk into his arena.
Well, me and you have always been on fuck the Magic. We hate the Magic. Nobody likes the Orlando Magic. He cried in his opening press conference with the Bulls because he said he came into their organization as a kid. He left there as a man. And I'm sure he felt some of that beef and rivalry against the Nets. And he always turned it on and got buckets against us. And that has continued now in the red jersey for the Bulls. And good for him. Good for him. Whatever. I don't think we're ever going to run into him in a playoff series where he's going to dominate us and bounce us out. That'd be fun. I don't think it would ever happen. And I was saying that today. My boy Hot Fizz, Sean, one of the bleacher creatures, we're in the bleachers. He's streaming the Bulls versus Nets game. So I'm paying attention to it in Yankee Stadium. He's like, the Nets are losing. The Nets aren't going to win. The Nets are blah, blah. I'm like, I'm not worried about that, bro. Like, we'll give y'all, your team is at full strength. Zach LaVine, Lauri Markkanen, Thaddeus Young, former Net. Like, you guys are at full strength and you're at home and it's 2:00 on a Sunday. We have to travel to Chicago just to play you on 2:00 on a Sunday without Harden, without KD. Like, I don't care. I'm not worried about that, bro. Like, and it wasn't like you blew us out, and it doesn't matter in the current standings. The Chicago Bulls are 10th. Like, whatever. It's the NBA. Teams aren't going to win every single game. These guys were on a 6-game losing streak. They were hungry for a win. We were on a 4-game winning streak. It came to an end. But you know what? I'm done wasting time talking about the Nets when we're not talking about the actual Nets. We're not talking about KD. We're not talking about Harden. We're not talking about Kyrie. We're not talking, 7, 11, 13. And now with LaMarcus Aldridge and Nick Claxton and Landry Shamet and Joe Harris and everybody else, I want to talk about the Nets when the Nets are at full strength. We lose a game like this on a Sunday at 2. They usually put the other New York team on for these matinee games, these Sunday afternoon games. Even Kyrie forgot. He said something in his post-game press conference like, yeah, they played well tonight or this afternoon or whatever, like this random 2:00.
We were all making that mistake. I made that mistake on Twitter. I said LaMarcus Aldridge was going to start again tonight. And we had someone in the comments be like, this game's at 2 p.m. I was like, yeah. Why? I don't know why the Nets are playing at 2 p.m. like we're some kind of day baseball game, but whatever. I'm going to bypass directly past this game and move into some news and notes because we talked about 3 games today. Those all really don't mean shit compared to what I'm about to say. And that's that Katie's back this week. Kevin Durant, the Durantula, number 7, the Slim Reaper, is going to be back on the court for your Brooklyn Nets sometime this week. Looks like it's probably going to be the Pelicans game if you had to put the odds on it. He might even play tomorrow, though. Him and Harden stayed in New York on Sunday. They didn't travel to the game. They rested up. They got some practice in together. Katie's coming back, and that's going to be when Scary Hours truly commences because we've been playing a man down all season, whether it's Kyrie, whether it's before we had James Harden, whether it's Spencer Dinwiddie. We've been playing a man down all year, and now it's like we're putting it together. And I think, and this is something I'm very prepared for being the guy that runs the Twitter, I think that if KD comes back and the Nets maybe have a slow game against the Knicks, only scrape out a win like last time, or they play the Pelicans and Zion puts up like 25 and it's like a close game, I am excited and prepared for people to be like, did KD just ruin the Nets? Did he come back and he ruined everything they had going on? I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the energy. I'm looking forward to the takes. I'm looking forward to the Nets smoking the Knicks, smoking the Pelicans. KD coming back, showing that when I left, I was the MVP of the league. When I was playing, I was the leading candidate to win the most valuable player. And now he's going out playing with James Harden. I couldn't be more excited. And Keith, I know you feel the same, but I want you to elaborate.
I'm super excited for KD to come back. This has become James Harden's team. I'm sure I said it on a podcast very early. Hey, this is going to become Harden's team with KD being out, and it has. And we've got those I am the MVP shirts. I actually got yours. Might as well show you. Our YouTube folks will see. Got one of these for you, and I got another one. shop.johnboymedia.com. Talkin Nets. I am the MVP. James Harden shirts. Harden's the MVP. But you know who else we were talking about MVP a little bit earlier in the season too when he was going off? It's KD. And everybody that knows basketball, watches basketball, even if you don't know basketball, knows that KD is arguably a top 3 player in the league. And with this guy coming back with what just happened, and that's what I want to talk about next, the whole Michael Rappaport thing and the fine. KD being fined $50,000 by the league. And then even the way that KD came out and apologized. He didn't exactly apologize for the messages he sent, because I'm sure it's still F Michael Rappaport and all the things he said he meant. But what he said was like, I don't want people to see me in that way. Or, some people, I guess, you kind of ran with the private messages that he sent to one grown ass man and took that to say that that's how he like thinks or whatever, how he feels about whatever. I think KD is going to come back and kill. I think KD is going to come back the same way Kyrie hears what they say about him. And then as soon as he gets back on the floor, he does what he does, which is something that almost no other human being can do. KD on the court is hell like that. He's ridiculous. And he does something that almost no other humans can do. And that's what I expect him to do as his response, right? Oh, y'all find me $50,000. Like $50,000 to KD isn't even like $50 to us. It's like $5 to us. Like KD does not care about $50,000 for a DM.
That's not even 2 weeks rent for KD.
It's like $50,000 like he might have in his sock. What I'm saying is, though, is the optics around this Michael Rappaport situation, this guy launching a podcast to fully talk. Like, he used Kevin Durant. And you know what Kevin Durant's going to do? He's not going to say anything else about him. He's not going to give him any more light, but he's going to use his talents on the court. And guess who the beneficiaries are? That us as Nets fans. We're going to get to see KD back, healthy, fired up and pissed off this week, we hope. And I got no problem with Adam Silver fining KD. I feel like he had to. I said that, it seems like a clown move, but it's not a good look for the NBA. It's not a good look for the Nets. And it sucks that a guy like Michael Rappaport, who is the biggest scumbag lame of all lames, can take messages, screenshot them, and then remove his messages. I knew that he had to provoke KD. I'm like, what is KD? You think KD's just spewing all this stuff? Like KD kind of looked like a bully in the DMs. No, this guy removed messages. I'm telling you, he was antagonizing him. He definitely said something to KD to make KD go to those lengths. Okay, it's in the past now. NBA fined him. KD's going to come back, and there's going to be hell to pay on the NBA. And I can't wait to see it, because now it's time to get this chemistry together, to get this team healthy and rolling together as we head into the end of the season and the playoffs.
Look, it's a cold, cold world. I guess on Rappaport's end, it kind of worked out. Publicity stunt worked, got him some of that shine, got him some of that credit, some of that support, some of that, those clicks. But honestly, that kind of seems like the vibe I've been getting from a lot of things that even people in the NBA have been doing. And I want to let that segue us right into what one Reginald Bullock said Saturday night for the Knicks. I don't know if you even saw this. A reporter asked him, going into this Nets game, are you worried about maybe facing the big three now that KD might be coming back? And Reggie Bullock says, nah, we got a big 5. And then Julius Randle says, no, we got a big 15. Do you feel like that? Because honestly, to me, I feel like that's that same Michael Rappaport type energy, trying to use the Nets energy to get some hype ups that they really don't deserve. The Knicks just got back to 500. Congratulations. Let's talk about that, because to me, it seems like a lot of people, a lot of lames are trying to make this Nets-Knicks thing closer than it is. And right now, talk about big brother, little brother. The rest of the NBA is the Nets' little brother. The Knicks are like some second cousin that they don't even think about.
These guys are riding high because they blew out the Pistons. These guys are riding high because they got a couple wins. Listen, I'm so tired of the Knicks, but I love this rivalry. I love this energy. We are going in to Madison Square Garden to play the Madison Squares. You're listening to this podcast on Monday. You should wear some Brooklyn Nets gear, Talkin Nets gear if you have it. If you're in the New York, New Jersey area, definitely. Even if you're in Minnesota like our guy Louie, if you're in the South like Jamie, well, I'm assuming Jamie's from the South with her accent. If you're, anywhere, rep the Brooklyn Nets because the tide is turning. And I think it's already turned. And these guys know that. Nobody cares about the Knicks. Like the Knicks fans are in denial. And the Nets know it's our world, Nets world. The new Mecca is in Brooklyn in the Barclays Center. And I don't care what these guys say. It's going to come down to what happens on the court. And we can beat these guys without KD. We can beat these guys with Harden. And we're just going to continue to be the better brand of basketball in the state of New York. Oh, how times have changed. I love it. We're a little brother no more. And you should be pumped up, right? This podcast is to get you pumped for the rivalry, Brooklyn versus Manhattan. This is to get you pumped up to see your guys play in the Mecca, where I hope Harden plays. I don't think KD's going to play, but I hope Harden plays. I hope Kyrie puts on a show. I hope Nick Claxton puts on a show. Jeff Green had back-to-back games, 21 points. He might go for another 20. Joe Harris, what do you got? And I know there's a little extra energy that comes with playing the Knicks. It's just like you get tired of hearing about it. And that's how I feel Nets fans are. We're tired of hearing from this team. These guys talk as if they're better than they are. You're standing on nothing besides the fact that Dolan is one of the richest owners in sports and owns a scrub team, a laughingstock team. Let's go Nets. It's our world, Nets world. Let's beat the Knicks tonight and continue on. How many times we've already played them twice and beat them twice?
2 wins, beat him one time with 6 players. Beat him last time. Julius Randle threw a little crybaby fit.
Didn't Mitchell Robinson get hurt in a game last week? They won't have him. He came back and went right back out.
Look, it's just nothing exciting with the Knicks. But look, today you're going to see on Twitter, Talkin Nets, we talk about the Knicks 4 times a season. We play 4 games against them. That's how often we talk about them. And look, it's going to be a toxic place. It's going to be a toxic place on Twitter, on New York Twitter, on NBA Twitter, and I'm hyped for it.
It's easy, bro. It's
too
so
easy. It's
easy.
bait. It's free money. It's free money. You aspiring social media managers out there, you want to generate some controversy. You want to get some clicks. You want to get some engagements. Talk about the Knicks. Call them the little brother. It's the easiest bait that exists, maybe on all of Twitter. I really can't think. Maybe like LeBron's fans and talking about Jordan might be a little easier, but like they're just so defensive and they're so ready to step up to bat, and it hit you in the comments. I'm excited for it. I'm pumped for it. But look, we got more than one game to talk about, because at the end of the day, the Knicks are some 500 team that we don't really have to think about. Maybe worry about playing down to our competition a little bit because they are, kind of a scrub ass team. We got another game. Pelicans at home Wednesday. Isaiah Thomas with the 2-4 on his back, making his debut against the Nets. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see Zion, who's putting together some good performances. I'm excited to see this team that's, trying to make some things happen in the Western Conference come to Brooklyn. And this is the game. I think this is the game KD comes back.
Yo, why didn't the Nets sign IT? I thought we were getting everybody.
I thought it was free money.
I thought IT wanted a ring. Thought he was going to sign with the Nets.
Man, whatever. But look, it's an exciting game. This is going to be the game that KD comes back for, probably. I'm excited to see him light it up. I'm excited to see James Harden light it up. It's going to be a good, fun game. It's an exciting game. And I think this is actually the last team that the Nets haven't played. So that's going to be another storyline. We're going to play them for the first time this season, get a good look at them, see what they've got in the Western Conference. That's starting to get pretty jumbled with the Lakers falling down the standings. And that's really it for this week. But I'm going to throw it to Keith because we got more important than those 2 games. We got something going on Saturday, Keith. Can you tell the people what's going on?
Man, bless it. We are going to be gathering in Brooklyn, not at the Barclays Center, but for free at Tailgate Brooklyn, right across from the Williamsburg Hotel. We did this in freezing rain, freezing cold weather back in February, and we understand if you didn't make it. Some people did make it, and there were actually some people out there that listened to the show but didn't come say what's up, didn't introduce themselves. They were out there for us, but just kind of blended in. Nah, we don't want that. We want everybody to come out. We want some gang shit. We want this to be Talkin Nets, TN fam. We want everybody together. We're going to do the live podcast, meet up, meet and greet, watch the Laker game Saturday. Make your reservation. Go to resi.com, search Tailgate Brooklyn, and book a table for 7 o'clock Saturday night. We'll see you then. It's going to be dope. Let's wrap the pod up. We kept it light on voicemails, but we want you to leave voicemails. 201 870-0461 is a voicemail. Call up and be heard. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. It is all at Talkin Nets. You can follow me at Keith McPherson. Hudson Flynn, where can they follow you?
You can follow me at Hudson Flynn _ on Instagram and Twitter, but don't forget to hit up the YouTube, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, all of that. Talkin Nets, we're growing, we're building. And look, hop on the train now, because come playoff time, if you're looking for Nets coverage, you know where to look.
Yes, sir. You already know what we're going to be doing out here. Talking Nets, covering the Nets on the road to the finals. Hey, once again, thanks for listening. Tell a friend to tell a friend we're talking Nets. Subscribe, rate, review the pod. We'll read the review on the pod. That's all we've got. I'm looking forward to this week so much. Beat the Knicks, beat Zion. KD comes back. We got the Lake Show, Kuzma and those guys in Brooklyn on Saturday, and we get to meet you guys on Saturday. Hopefully the weather is great, and hopefully we can get the whole group together to say, let's go Nets. Brooklyn.
We go hard, go hard.